Hello everyone, welcome to Farmer Yip's Feldy for Farming Simulator 11. Well, I have spent a little time off cam doing some work in here. As you'll see, we are very close to emptying everything left in the reservoir for slurry. I also took the step of compacting the silage over here. We add just a little bit in the clamp, so we'll get that going, and frankly that's going to create some more slurry. Don't know how much, but we'll see. Now, I've hauled all of this painstakingly. Let's see what I've done. These fields kind of over in here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I did the duckbill field. I did these fields here, and I did this one here, and so we're fairly far up the hill, so we're gonna head on up there now. You know, it said I emptied it. Is it cooking more in there? Maybe it's just the texture that it looks like when it's empty, a little bit of residue. So we will climb the mountain, as it were, say goodbye to our BGA for a little bit till we're back down here selling some silage. Still have plenty of money in the bank, and I was pleasantly surprised and the thing wasn't even full. I was pleasantly surprised as to how far I was able to make all the slurry go, and actually we could probably find out now. Kinda curious here to see liquid manure. You know, I think we have about as much liquid manure from our cattle as we had over here kind of in the slurry area. So there may be a fair bit of ground that we are just flat out able to. Oh shoot, I forgot to look here. We also have, this is something else I'd like to try. Let me just see here. Manure storage, 100. We don't have quite as much for the solid manure, but we have, I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at. And you know, this is only coming from 8 cows. These guys are prolific. And speaking of the cattle, you know, we do have plenty of silage in there for a while. I do need to plant a bunch of corn to get some more. Probably will try to do that over by, or kind of up by, around the dairy. And yeah, down here, as I look at these fields, you know, with a fresh coat of slurry on them, I'm not sure what I'm going to put in them. The one to the left, I may do corn again, but I think I want to put in a bunch of potatoes this go around. Don't really do with anything with them in terms of processes and what have you, but I know we need them for the secret mission, so I think I want to have a bunch of them around at least. Also, I think we have a quicker way to harvest them now. Oh, look way over there and see the other field. Yeah, I didn't haul any slurry up to that field. Yeah, I think I'll cut across the field. There's nothing planted. So, not sure we would do this in real life, but, you know, for the sake of compaction or whatever, but we don't have a full load, so it'll be alright. So, we also, the field to the right in here, we also put a coat of slurry, and also this field here we put a coat of slurry on. Haven't done it here, so kind of where I left off was on this small field over here, which I'll turn to here and right now, as a matter of fact. So I'll maybe go finish that up and then come over. Might have enough left to do this little one in here, and then I think I'm gonna be out. And someone who has done this in real life, you know, I wouldn't know Is this something you would do on really steep land? Or is it something you would do on flatter ground, just in real life? All I'm thinking is, manure is heavy, liquid is heavy, and to put these, in these big vehicles or trailers, to just haul this over really steep hills just seems kind of like you'd be asking for trouble. Yeah, probably definitely wouldn't do it on a little tiny field, or I wouldn't know. Alright, looks like I did a little too much. It's more than covered. For all I know, I'll barely get this field done. Stop that here. I know I can drive right through that fence over there. But why? Yeah, it's kind of... And maybe this is why a lot of times we do it off cam, because I can do this kind of thing off cam. Just right through the trees. I know there are some YouTubers out there that are very serious about trying to do it as realistic as possible. And there's a fine art to that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But the part of realism that I've never yet seen anybody implement is to have real times for growth of crops. And I doubt whether I'm ever going to see it. I mean, who wants to wait months for a YouTuber to harvest? Oh, as I think about it, I do have another series that I've only done an episode or two once a year, so... Alright. Let me try to... Again, I don't have to watch the fence. I could easily go right through it. So, okay, I got 1,900 liters left. Maybe I can finish with the little field just up ahead. And yeah, I'm pleased the amount of places I was able to fertilize with this. And like I say, I have a bunch to come for the solid manure. Shoot, I may end up getting the whole place covered just in manure. Not bad for a little bit of silage and 8 cows. Not bad at all. They're quite prolific. They're also healthy eaters. Actually, let me look at that later. Oops. Kind of need to follow the edge. Yeah, I'm going to get run out. No problem. Alright, we're done. Exit the field over here. And now I'm going to just continue heading on up the hill. We're going to go over to the dairy. And I've never done this before. And I'd have to talk to Farmer Yip to see kind of what his intentions were, because I thought I had to do a few fixes to get the dairy working. Could be just my imagination. It may have worked without some of the changes that I made. I just don't know. I've just never tried it, so this is all new territory for me. So, and let me see here. I'm going to go around this way. I could take it down the hill right there, but I think I'm going to come in at this angle. And we're going to see if this works. I know there is a trigger in there, in the map, I'm pretty sure I put it there. Well, yeah, see, this is one of the changes I seem to recall making, is the trigger to pick up slurry. I thought maybe was buried kind of in the map, so that you couldn't even pick up material. So, alright, here comes the pit. Yeah, I'll come in this angle. Get turned around so we can see here. Let me see if it tells us you first need to fill the tool. Right? Oh. Aha, ha, 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 ha. Sweet, look at that. Very, very interesting. 227. All right. Well, we'll get a tank load of this. We'll put it on the fields. And here for this, I think I'm going to head a different direction in terms of where I put it down. Cool. Yeah, I need to cut some grass, I think. How much did I have? $36,000. All right. I'm going to need to attend to that at some point. All right. I'm going to take this south, and yeah, looking at this field, I'm pleased that the script is working and then some. It's probably working too well. It's planting it, replanting it in areas it shouldn't be. Yeah, I'll put some on the field to the right, and I think I'll just start with the field kind of at the far side. And the hedge needs to be trimmed. You know, this map, the work just never stops. There is so much to do. You know, it's be a great multiplayer map. But kind of like I mentioned in the last episode, I'm kind of looking to complete the series, you know, once I get it done. Now, this is going to be manure. Looks the same, of course. Sweet. So, like I say, I've been looking for, yeah, nothing to see here. Yeah, I just went through a tree. Looking to see what should be the next map. You know, if I do one in the Farm Sim 11 franchise. It's still a good game. I realize the newer versions have more bells and whistles and all that. But I can pretty much guarantee Farm Sim 11 has more mods, particularly more than 25. Farm Sim 25, maybe even 22, although I'm not 100% sure. Maybe I'm just nostalgic. And this, and I think we've maybe talked about this before, this is what Feldy is what would be called a standard-sized map. You know, where it's basically 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers in dimension, a big old square. I tend to enjoy some of the larger maps, 4X, those kinds of things. I know there was some 4X for Farm Sim 11. I don't know if anybody ever made larger. If they did, I don't know that they were published. So I've been thinking of checking out some 4X maps. Obviously, the thing you always sacrifice, with the larger maps, is detail. So they tend not to be as detailed. They maybe don't have as much old processes, if you will, running around. Like in here, I just was noticing coming up the lane, the hedge needs trimmed, and that's something that just keeps coming up. Of course, we wouldn't have to do it. We don't make any money for doing it, but it's something else to do. And obviously, Yip has built in plenty of things to do, in making your own fertilizer and those kinds of things. So maybe there are 4X maps, that has those kinds of things built in. Yeah, I just remember a long time ago, I was late coming to the Farm Sim franchise, and oh, I'm out. And I think the first that we had for our family was Farm Sim 09, but by the time we got into it, the world was already into Farm Sim 15, so we were already behind. But for whatever reason, we spent a lot of time in Farm Sim 11, not so much in 13. But I remember at the time, this is back when the FSUK forum was still up and about, there was somebody, I forget his name, he actually lived in Tasmania, which is an island below Australia, and when I described some of the things I liked in a map, as I was just looking around and discovering things, he's the one that recommended giving Feldy a try. And I'm really grateful that he did, because, yeah, it's been just a wonderful experience. Let's see if I can back it in here. The thing's pretty deep in here, so I don't want to... Let me see. Alright, that's close enough. Now, is it flat enough? Yeah, I think I can draw. Okay, what I'd like to do, I want to do a little with the dry manure too, but something I'm going to need is another... Aha, here we go. That's kind of an interesting price. 7,359. Whatever. I want to see if the manure pit for the solid manure is back kind of over here around the corner. And there it is. I think I can put a regular shovel in there and you can pick up the manure, which is how maybe you're supposed to do it. Oh, there's a fence, so I can't get through there. But I'm going to try the elevator, if you will, I call it an elevator, conveyor belt, and see if I can back that in there and have it pick up the manure. And I think there's 180-some thousand liters of it, so I don't know that it's, in later versions of Farming Sim, it would put different coloration or different textures kind of on the ground when you spread manure versus slurry and some of those kinds of things. I doubt whether it's going to do that here, but I don't know. We will see. Let me just take this puppy down there. And again, we'll kind of sneak across these fields here. And this here, because manure is kind of nasty, being what it is, I'll maybe just leave it down there. And it'll be a dedicated manure elevator. I would say this elevator's been really handy. Farmer Yip, I don't think he designed the map assuming that the player would have an elevator. But I'm pretty sure that if I wanted to, I could put it into either of these bunkers. Because on the end of it, I think what I'm learning is it's a shovel, similar to the front end loader on a tractor. that you'd use to pick something up. So that's why it kind of hesitates at times or runs out. It's because it kind of needs a push, if you will. Can I drive up on this? Oh my goodness. Oh, yes it does. Oh, look at that. Well, I actually thought I could drive up on the pile. Well, that's kind of interesting. Alright, now how do I get this thing up? Loading mode. Okay. Well, it already loaded, so it's going to do that. Okay, so let me step around. I know there's a spear I can get to come out. I'll just get out of the tractor for the moment. And oh shoot, oh my goodness. What did I do? Man, it's like it... I didn't... My goodness. Yeah, there's something that made it do that. I don't know. Okay, well, let me... Okay, fluid levels normal. I don't even know what that means. Oh, that's right. It puts it on the screen. Yeah, let's put it on the screen so we can see it. Tow bar. We want that out. Up or down. And what's down? Go up a little bit. Alright, that's up as high as it'll go. So hop over. Now I've had trouble with this spear disappearing on me, but it looks like it is staying put. Oh, come on. Pick it up. Now this is an area of the map I really haven't spent all that much time on. And this is curious. I guess if I need to, I can move this in the future. But something tells me I'm probably... Actually, let me see if I'm kicking in the air. Okay, cool. Good, I'm not. There, maybe... You know what? Maybe I'll just park it right there. That'll work. Okay, stay put. Now, here's where this map gets a little tough. There's not much room, and probably if I did a redesign, I would knock the fence out here and make it so you can go all the way around here. I'm gonna go up and grab the manure spreader, but I kind of need to come around these bunkers. Yeah, we'll just see if we can make this work. And this is probably something too, you know, even as I said, if I was going to do an edit, and I don't think I will in this case, because I can't imagine I'll be doing a huge amount of manure hauling. But this may be how something is designed, you know, in the UK. I think Feldy was intended to be a Scottish type map, and I'm sure that that's following design principles of... Oh, that's the other jukebox. Probably following design principles of just how things are in the UK, which I wouldn't be aware of. But I don't know, here we try to keep things a bit more open, although I would say that's probably something more recent. You know, if you look at old farms, I'm not going to say we're much dissimilar from the UK. Everything was just smaller back then, and so passageways were narrower. I mean, when you were in the days before you had a tractor, why would you need to have something wide enough, you know, that a big old tractor could come in when you just add a horse or two or something? So it could be that some of the ad isn't so much culture or a way of doing things. You know, maybe sweet. Any errors? Oh, music to my ears. Now it's interesting. I'm watching it. Okay, that's kind of cool. It empties, then refills. I'm looking up here on the total. This is kind of air belt, so it's putting some in. Very interesting. Okay, so the shovel, since it's right down in it, I guess it has everything it needs. Cool. You know, there still is a texture issue kind of coming up here. It does something to it. Probably a texture or scaling. Can't complain with that. So, sweet. I'll take this to the field. And this is something I haven't done in a long time, even in recent versions of Farming Sim, but especially in Farm Sim 11 and never on Feldy, is spread manure. Why not use the free fertilizer if we have it available? So I'll head to the back and continue kind of where I left off. I don't think the hedge will grow clear across the road, but it's definitely scratching the paint. But our tractors are pretty weathered as it is, so whoops. Now what would be interesting is to see how courseplay it'd be so helpful to have GPS. I just don't know. Okay, that's pretty narrow. That's very narrow. You know, maybe I need to put something in that kind of shows the bounds of how far away it's going to throw it. Yeah, it's much, much narrower than... let's see if I can get away with that. Alright, that's kind of... It's got different textures that it's kicking out the back end. That's kind of cool. But yeah, definitely no difference landing on the ground as to what kind of texture it puts out. Is there another dab kind of up here? Yeah, there was. Not missing in the corner. Yeah, this is where GPS is just so handy, because you get the exact width, and so you get perfect coverage pretty much for... It's very efficient in terms of scattering it out, so... Yeah. You know, I think I kind of like the wider one better. But what do you do when you have a lot of manure to get rid of? It's all free. Oh, I see that door. Cool, this one has animations in it. Doors kind of going up and down to let it out. I don't know. Maybe I could try a course play. I just don't know in these older versions how well course play would do, you know, with something like this. Scattering it on the fields. That was much more improved kind of in later versions, where you could set it up. You just can't do it here on this map. You know, you could. I mean, in the field you could, but I know in the newer versions you could set it up so it would go refill and particularly with fertilization and seeds and all that. So, and it isn't so much that maybe it couldn't be done here, but this particular map, you know, kind of we were talking earlier, there's just not enough. It isn't as open, and I think course play would. There's so many objects and things to run into. It would have. Oh shoot! I'm not close enough. That it would run into difficulty being able to refill. Supposedly, course play has the ability to back up, or you can put it in reverse. I just haven't experimented much with it, I guess. But I've never had the best luck, you know, backing up either. Because I think you just never know what angle a piece of equipment or tractor is going to come in, and to know where it's going to be when you set the backing up part of the course. Well, yeah, this field's going to be a little streaked. I definitely, as ugly as it is, well, I don't know that I could do that on here. I was going to say I need to put a guide marker on it. I know I did that. What was with that? That was with the potato harvester, where I put a couple guide rails to sit out there. Of course, that was a mod, so it was pretty easy to add. With this here kind of being an in-game piece of equipment, yeah, that might be a little bit tougher to negotiate. But anyway, I will finish the field off cam, and probably have to do a lot of work off cam now that I think about it, because we have a lot of muck to haul and get rid of. So I won't bore you with all of that. I'll only bore you with some of it. Anyway, thanks for coming along and for giving it a watch. Y'all have a wonderful day. I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.